Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the hearts of pine. Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the hearts of pine. Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the hearts of pine. Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the hearts of pine.
It was so nice I had to play it twice. Mitchell, Rob, Shawn, and Sam back with another DU post-match pulse. Voices are shot probably early on in the game. I think 5 minutes in is when my voice went yesterday. But no, the vibes are through the roof today. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a Motown Mow-Down to talk about. Your Portland Hearts of Pine 4, Detroit City FC 2 in the second match of the 2025 USL Jagermeister Cup group stage. So excited to tuck into this one, but we got to start before the match, of course. The party started early at the zoo. Doors opened at noon. I think most folks started rolling in around 12:30, 1 o'clock. I know I ran a little late because I had some errands to run pregame. But were any of you guys there before me? I can't remember.
I know I wasn't. I walked right past your car as I walked in.
Yeah, I was there pretty much on the spot at 1 o'clock, and I went in to see Don was messing with the tent, trying to get the tent up. So I went
Yeah.
over to give him a hand, getting the tent up and getting that all situated. So I was there just a little bit before you, not much though.
Yeah, I I was not in a great mood walking into the zoo yesterday morning. I'll be honest. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm a little tired of 11 weeks of rain. I'm tired of putting on the trench coat and the thick rubber boots to go watch a soccer match. My knees are screaming at me. And I was just kind of over it. I wanted the sun to come out. I wanted a good game, but I didn't really know what to expect out of the match ahead. Um, Bobby was on Mannix and Mannix at the midweek, kind of talking about some rotation, managing minutes. We've kind of been bit by the injury bug, so there was a lot up in the air. We've had the new addition of Mo Muhammad, who got his debut on the road last week, and I think that we were expecting some rotation going into this. Shawn, what did you think of kind of what we were gonna see before the lineup came out as we were chatting it up and getting the drinks flowing at the zoo early?
Yeah, so in terms of rotation of the side and what we thought we were going to see, I actually thought we were going to see more of a rotated side than we did. I remember going through the lineup going, yeah, okay, Cash, totally figured that. And then, we saw Quinones in there. I said, yeah, okay, I figured that. But, we're seeing, Ollie Wright in there and Lopez in there and Malamaki Camacho and Messer and all those guys, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, we're pretty much like I don't know, I would say maybe 3 or 4 guys that we don't normally see in the lineup on a start. That's about it, somewhere in that wheelhouse. But it felt to me like we had a pretty decent lineup to go up against it. So um, it got me contemplating maybe what that matchup is going to look like when we go out on the field. Prior to this matchup, I was pretty much right in line with what you were talking about, Mitchell. Pretty much like, all right, rotated side. We're going to go out there. We saw what we did against Hartford in the first Jagermeister matchup. Lost 2-0 down there. And, we're going to go against the Detroit side that is very stout on corners and pretty decent at putting the ball in the back of the net, too, right? And my expectations were tempered. Let's put it that way. I just wanted to go out and just look at individual players up against a championship side and just try to take some measuring sticks off from that. And honestly, that's really all I was really looking at. I was hoping we'd keep it close and respectable, and I was going to be eyeballing some players. That's really what I expected, honestly, going into that matchup. Mitchell?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we were playing FIFA the night before, the DUFC pro clubs struggling through playoffs, and everybody that was in there knows I was kind of in a little bit of a pessimistic mood, and I prefaced it with, I know we're not gonna go out there and lay down. No matter what happens, no matter who we're up against, the Hearts of Pine are gonna come out and they're gonna work their asses off for 90 plus. We know that. That's a given. I just figured that starting, like, if we're focusing on the Jagermeister Cup, you have to take into account 2-0 defeat away at Hartford. Goals matter. If we're just getting up to full strength, like, we didn't have JT, we didn't have Natty, we didn't have uh, Mo Muhammad. There's a lot of change that's happened since we went out and played in Hartford. So I guess I didn't know what to expect, and I was pleasantly surprised with what we saw as we made our way over to Fitzpatrick for the game. Rob, what do you think about how we've managed minutes so far and the guys getting that got into the lineup? Like, how do you think that has affected the development to this point and kind of leading up to the result we saw last night?
Well, I think we've been a little bit lucky. Lucky in a manner of speaking, that we're a new team, so we're constantly trying to pull in more and more talent into the squad. We did not have a 100% built roster when we kicked off back in March. So we've had guys come in like Natty James, like Masashi Wada, um, you know, um, and having those guys come in now later in the season, they're a little bit more fresh. I think JT Kamara showing up on the scene has really kind of changed a lot of the calculation for what your match day squad looks like. So you're able to rest some players like Walter Varela, Ollie Wright, Liotti, Titus. Those guys kind of can take a step back for some of these games. And I think by having that right now, we're kind of going to start to see what I'm hoping is going to be kind of a golden summer for us. As some of these other teams, like think about like Westchester, who came out flaming hot at the beginning of the season. Now they're starting to slow down. We see Naples starting to get into some injury problems, but us, because we had these guys come in late, we're starting to kind of find that we're maybe the strongest team on the field in terms of um, stamina right now and in terms of where we're at with injuries, I think.
Sam,
And honestly, in
yeah,
terms of
sorry, go ahead.
what was that? No, go
I was
ahead.
going to
What
direct
were you
it
gonna?
to I was just directing it your way, sir.
Yeah, it's. I completely agree with you, Rob. Is that it goes to show you, Bobby was part of a USL one winning squad when he was at when he was at Omaha, and he's kind of used that as the way to build a winner in League One. Now, did Hearts come, I wouldn't say stumbling out of the gate, but it was a bit of a slow start. But that was because we weren't exactly at full strength, and everyone was not accounted for. And now that we've got everybody here, it's been what 2-3 weeks the squad's had together as a first team, and it's worked out really. It's paid off in spades here with this result. Piggybacking off of what you said, Mitch, I and also what you said, Shawn, I was fully expecting, Hearts to keep it close. We'd probably lose by a goal, or best case scenario, we draw and we win in the shootout. I was not expecting this result at all.
No.
This was a very, very pleasant surprise. And to go up against one of the championship's stronger sides and come out with a result like this is just, you couldn't ask for anything better at this time of the year. If this is the measuring stick, this is the midterm Hearts pass with flying colors.
Yeah. And Detroit didn't really put out a weak side either. They had maybe 4 or 5 swaps from their normal 11. They did have a reserve keeper in net who didn't have the best night. But I think that just showed how lethal we were in transition, and we'll get into the match. But I think as we were setting up and the sun started peeking out, the vitamin D started lifting everybody up. The rain held off for the match, which was superb. Love staying dry for 90 plus. But no, the sun peaks out and the game's getting ready to kick off. And who do we see pitch side? But Women's Champions League winner with Arsenal, Jenna Neishwanger. Last week, she's lifting big ears. This week, she's in Portland, Maine. So any of you Arsenal fans, be very excited. Our club is massive.
It's very cool. We've had Maine celebrities come to matches. This is kind of, I think, our first true soccer celebrity that's come to a match, and I think it does speak to something that maybe U.S. soccer is starting to get their head around, which is that some of these smaller cities like Portland, these smaller communities, are soccer hotbeds. They've been ignored by all other sports. So you go into these markets, to use that term, you build a team up, and you see just a population explode around the sport in general. I mean, we've got like four or so, 4, 5, 6 soccer bars in the city alone. And it just shows. I think that we're going to start to see more people like her coming to the city just to take in kind of the atmosphere that exists both at Fitzpatrick, but then also just you walk around the soccer pitches around the city, you walk into the soccer bars. I mean, this city kind of exudes that sort of culture everywhere.
Yeah, it's blown up very quickly. I know, like you'll see some of the guys pop down to KP and watch the kids play. A lot of them are doing training sessions with kids, and honestly, the kids at Fitzpatrick are giving us a run for our money. Like they're getting loud, they're getting active, and they know ball, and it's cool to see how fast that trend. Like yeah, we saw people wearing the merch and walking around and saying up the hearts in the build up, but yesterday felt different to me. Like yesterday felt like a solidifying moment of sorts with this club, with this community, and I don't know. It just like it was palpable. You could feel kind of something in the air, if you will. As soon as that sun peeked out, everybody was getting in their seats. It was a little slow. I noticed on the watching back during warm ups, there wasn't a lot of butts in seats yet. But the food trucks, the festival atmosphere, it's unique. What we have at Fitzpatrick is really, really special. And I think that's indicative of who Maine is. And we will get in our seats for that first whistle. And the zoo, the supporter section was stuffed. The heartbeat was going crazy. The smoke was starting early. And once that first whistle blew, Portland knew it was a cup match. It was a cup match, and we were up for it. Um, some quick lineup notes. As we did see the lineup, we saw Cash in net for Hunter Morse. We saw Kamali Green back from injury, getting that start, and some notable starters on the bench. Vinberg, Walter Varela, and Masashi Wada were able to get some rest. So I think that was really, really cool to see that we put out a competitive side, but we were able to rotate some key players for us.
And an additional thing, piggybacking off of the Jenna Niswanger thing, she does have a connection to Maine. She has relatives up in the county and spent time there. So nice
Okay,
to
I didn't
see
know
the
that.
county get some recognition. The real part of Maine, as some might like to say, not us downstate folks.
You know the
But
DU supports the county. We have our rustic
we
flag
all
hanging
16
proudly.
counties.
But yeah, I did
But
not know that.
yeah, it's who knew. But it was just an absolute electric atmosphere leading up to kickoff. And also, it's I believe this is the first match we've had at Fitzy where we've actually had away support. About 50, 60 Detroit fans making the trip from Michigan.
Yeah, wicked nice crew. And they're the Northern Guard and the Detroit City supporters. They're loud. People know they're there. And no, we had a handful of them show up to the zoo before the game. Really, really nice folks. And I'm happy to hear that they were in full voice for that full game, even though it didn't go their way. They even came to the zoo afterward, but we'll get to that after we talk about the bread and butter. So yeah, we blow the whistle, and the game kicks off, and it started hot. It really did. It was physical. Hearts didn't come out as press heavy as it felt like. It felt like they were waiting for their moment to turn it on this time. And I think the first real memorable part of this game was Ollie getting his caution right out of the gate, 4 minutes in. We hadn't really touched the ball that much, and I think it was just slow the game down. Let's show some physical presence and turn it on. Um, Kind of lucky that it wasn't more, because that was a pretty obvious hefty shirt pull. But you know, we'll move on from it. And just a minute later, the things started turning Hearts of Pine way. Um, we get a quick turnover, and Natty James slots a beautiful ball through to Azad Liadi in the 5th minute, who takes it on his left and bends it around the keeper into the side netting. 1-0 Hearts of Pine. Shawn.
Yeah, so no, I got out of the press box like I keep on saying I'm going to do. I finally did it. And I was standing back behind the high roller section, so I was down at ground level, looking over the boards and just kind of walking back and forth on the edges of the field, trying to follow the boys the best I could to try to stay relatively close to where the play is on the field, right? And that ball threaded through, and him and Liati both being on the same page, and it was a perfect timed run to the strike of the ball and the pass from James. He was pretty much shoulder to shoulder with the back line, and as soon as he saw him make contact with the ball, he was off. And he bounced out on the back side of that back line. He was one on one with the keeper, and he does what a good striker does, and he tucks it in the back corner of a sprawling goalkeeper there for Detroit, and 1-0 up early. What a great start for the Hearts, Mitchell.
Yeah, the natural look was that he was going to take it with his right and slot it near post, which I think is what ultimately led to him being able to open up that left side. And it bang bang play. It points to where he wants it, catches it in stride. Couldn't ask for more. Rob, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I think this goal kind of set the tone for a little bit of what I saw as a recurring strategy throughout the match, which was these quick transitional plays that the team was trying to do. It seemed like generally we try to keep someone towards the back of the pitch, towards their goal. It seemed like it was Liati, sometimes Kamara, who'd hang back and lay in wait for a moment when the ball was tipped, and then shot right out towards them, which left them kind of wide open. Detroit's system, they usually sent their wingers forward. So it only would be those two center backs hanging back to hold on to that striker. And, in this case, Liati just had the legs. He got out, got around him, and was able to get that ball there. But I saw that play run half a dozen times last night. And every single time I watched it, it was really amazing, well thought out, a great attack.
If I could just jump in one more time, there was one thing that I forgot I wanted to mention on the build-up of that. Back when James had the ball back closer to midfield, he did try to make an initial pass, and the center back and captain for Detroit City FC, Stephen Carroll, number 5, center back, stepped up and actually got a foot on the ball, but he didn't control it to keep it down underneath of him. And the ball came back directly to James, which continued his run and then went on to make that pass to Liati, like we discussed. So, the captain would probably like to have that one back and maybe not just play it off the side of his foot and maybe just, launch it downfield somewhere. Yeah, he had his opportunity. He saw it go by the wayside. Tough luck for the Detroit City captain, Mitchell.
Yeah, it was like an intentional little give and go almost, like the way Natty just ate it up, like just swallowed it full stride and takes a touch outside of him and slots the ball right in motion. It was picture perfect. I think it's something that we've seen possibilities of, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. Like that type of goal where it's just the quick transition, fast through ball through. I would say the closest thing we've come to that was Titus's goal against Rhode Island, where he's able to get around the defender and use his pace into open space and slot it in. So clinical finish, clinical goal. Couldn't ask for more to start things off at Fitzpatrick. But after that, it was kind of a lull. we kind of shelled up a little bit for the next 15 minutes, and it was very back and forth. I think it was evident with that first 5 minute period and then everything after the goal that we were just waiting to capitalize on our moments. We knew Detroit was kind of a bigger side, if that makes sense. They know their game in and out. They've been playing together, and they have, I think, 11 games in all comps this season, or 14. They've played a little
Yeah.
bit more than Hearts of Pine, is what I'm trying to get
Yeah.
at. And so we just sat back and waited for our opportunities to pounce. We don't need to hold possession to win games. And when you're putting out a smaller, faster, younger side than we're typically used to seeing, you're going to see those quick bang bang goals. And I appreciated our reserve nature throughout that match, or throughout the first 30, 35 minutes of that game. Sam, what did you think?
I mean, we've been looking for something like that all year out of Azad Liadi, and just to see him get that beautiful through ball from Natty James, who had 2 assists on the night, and was at least deserving of one one man of the match from SofaScore. It really goes to show you just how much, it goes back to what was mentioned earlier, the Hearts having everybody accounted for, getting a few training sessions. They're starting to click, and to see it now against in a time where it really matters. I mean, the Jaeger Cup, we aren't exactly the favorites to go through, but to put together a performance like this against a championship side, it definitely will get you into Bobby Murphy's favor. It'll get you into the fans' favor, and just a great goal to get us on the board.
So as we move through the rest of that first half, the next big moment came at the 28-minute mark. Pretty similar in terms of finish, but not so similar in how we achieved the goal. JT and his ability to draw players over to the wing, he was definitely taking attention away from things on the left side of that field, and he was able to slot a ball over to Azad Liadi, over to James on a quick one touch, back over to the left, through to Ollie Wright, who slots home his first goal, finally breaks the seal for his Hearts of Pine career. And I think if there was a roof at Fitzpatrick, it was gone at that point. Ollie sprinted right over to the supporter section, jumped 2 fences, and was embraced in the DU arms. Shawn, seeing that one, where were you standing, or were you back in the booth for that? And
No,
what were your thoughts on the Ollie Wright goal and celebration?
no, as far as going to the booth, I did make it to the booth at some point, but I waited it out as long as I could. And the only reason why I wanted to get up to the booth is, they're going to start announcing attendance and what they had for attendance that night, and what the post match is going to look like and all that sort of stuff. So I did have to get up there for that, late game information, right? So I think I probably ended up finding my way up to the booth at probably about the 70-minute mark. I think is probably when I actually got up to the booth. But I was down in my usual spot, as discussed, and watching that one. And yeah, like you mentioned, Mitchell, just the attention that Kamara was getting, pulling the defense to one side. Most of the time, having 2 people on him, trying to double team Kamara, and when you got people pulling a defense to one side, and you're getting double teamed and sometimes even triple teamed, there's gaps. And if you can get the ball out, you can find those gaps. And to the passing progression that you mentioned, the ball ended up making its way across the field, and that unfortunately, some people get picked on sometimes. And the captain for Detroit, again, wrong place, wrong time. James was on the attack with the ball at his feet. The center back moved up to try to press James, And in doing so, he created that space behind him. And both James and Ollie saw that space. Ollie made the run. James dispatched the pass. Ollie did the rest, and off to the stands he went to celebrate with Derigo Union and find his dad and give him a big hug. Mitchell.
First professional goal he scored in front of his dad. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Roy. Unbelievable guy. He was the first one in the section before the kickoff. He's wearing an Ollie Wright kit, and I was like, "You must be his dad, because we don't get names and numbers on the back of our kits yet." And he was a peach. Unbelievable to have him there, and he even made his way up to the section and played some drums post match. But yeah, I believe that was the first time his dad has seen him score a professional goal live. So really special to have him there. And I mean, so far, all the friends and family of the guys have been incredible. So thank you. We know you're listening and appreciate having the boys in Maine. So welcome in the section anytime if you make the trip to Portland. But yeah, I think that's one all of us have been waiting for. Rob, what about you?
Yeah, so I think we've covered it all. I got only one comment to the club. If we're going to be having players hop those fences, let's get some padding on top of them. Someone posted a screenshot of Ollie Wright's knee on top of that chain link fence. And I swear to God, seeing that makes me cringe so bad. Please, can we get some padding or a gate there? Please.
Pool noodle.
Pool noodle, I don't care what,
I
but do not hurt
We might
those
have to
legs.
buy one.
I was thinking about doing that myself because I keep getting my kit stuck on the fence, and I've pulled it like 6 times, so I'm gonna have to get a new kit just to not wear. Like I'll destroy one of them because these Fitzpatrick fences. If we keep having players jump up and bad calls, I'm gonna look like Castaway pretty soon.
Think of them as battle scars, Mitch.
They are, but that kit's too nice to destroy like that.
Fair enough.
Spent too much money
But
on it.
but adding on to what you said, I mean, we have been waiting for Ollie to finally get one.
Yeah.
And to see him get one, and growing up as the son of an athlete, it is a proven fact. You play well, you play much better in front of your parents. And Ollie is just another testament to that. And I honestly thought he was going to get booked for hopping the fence.
Especially after the first caution. So
yes, especially after the first caution. If he was going to get sent off for jumping into the DU after we scored, I mean, the St. Louiston, we can't, just be right up on the fence. But and that's we'll get into that later because foreshadowing, kids. But
it was
just a great finish.
It was.
And once again, just seeing him find his dad and just sort of, it wasn't even a hug. It was more like shaking him like, yeah.
Yeah, the pure emotion.
It was awesome.
Pure emotion on it. And I lost what I was going to say, but I just, it's moments like this where the connection between the club and the community feels the most vibrant. You see the list start growing, and I'm just so thankful that this is all happening. Like at that point, we're 2-0 up. Everything's going Hearts' way. Even though we only have 34% of the possession, we weren't holding the ball too much. But when we had it, we were lethal. And I think even when we didn't have the ball, especially in that first half, this kind of goes to why he was our man of the match. Cash Oladapo. What a keeper. I think a lot of people are really high on Hunter Morse. He made a name very quickly, especially with the nerves of steel in that penalty shootout against Hartford. He's been a very key piece to keeping us steady at the start of this start of the season. But Cash Oladapo, coming off of that rotated game in Georgia where he kind of got hung out to dry early on in that game, came out absolutely stonewalled. He made 3 massive, massive saves in 3 minutes. And Shawn, I'll let you take it away from here. I could talk about Cash Money all day long.
Yeah, no, he made 6 saves in that first half, but 3 very important and big saves that I would identify, and all 3 of them was against their center forward, Darren Smith, um, which in the 11 matches that he has played in for Detroit City FC, he's put 7 in the back of the net. So the guy knows what he's doing. That's a championship center forward that is pretty good at the tools of the trade, if you will. Um, and he had what I would consider 3 pretty clear shots at goal, and Cash stoned him all 3 times in that 3-minute span, which aggravated the center forward so much that he literally put his hands on his head and just shook his head and was looking at the sky. He did not understand what he had to do to put it by Cash. I know one of them. Basically, he had a pretty good angle on Cash on the left side of the box. Got a nice clean strike on it, and Cash put a foot to it. There was one where he had a, I think it was a headed ball, relatively close proximity to where Cash was. I'm going to say so close to, it may have been but maybe 6 yards away. It wasn't very far away at all. And Cash took it right off the center of his chest and wrapped his arms around it. I think by far probably the most impressive save that Cash probably had on the night was probably that headed ball that went to his chest. Those sliding saves with the feet certainly does the job, and it's going to probably come down to everyone's likes of what they like to see on their keeper. But for me, just the close proximity and the strike with the head and the velocity in which that ball is coming off the head and the reaction time, which is next to nothing that you have to react to that ball, that's the save that I'm going to point at for myself for Cash. But he was on it. He blanked him in the first half. Cash was a large reason on why we went into the half 2-0. Mitchell?
Yeah, I just kind of want to look over to chat real quick. Shane, I was worried with Cash getting the start because Hunter has been such a good presence. Was worried he'd have trouble getting up to the game speed, but he was phenomenal. 2 great keepers is a good problem to have. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. Like, I think it's about expectation. We don't really know what to expect out of a backup keeper when they only have 1 game that was kind of an anomaly on the season so far. And he stood up to the challenge. I mean, absolutely impressive from start to finish. His positioning looked great. His physicality looked great. He was hungry for the ball, and his positioning was perfect. So, no notes on the Cash Oladapo performance from me.
And in terms of just the, you know, with him getting the start, you were absolutely right. I don't think we were expecting much. But to see him come out with a performance like this is just unbelievable. The fact that this is our backup keeper and he managed to be a big part in beating a championship side, unbelievable. And honestly, all the credit here, or a lot of the credit, I mean, Cash does have a big part to play in this, but Yuta Nomura, goalkeeping coach, developing 2 great keepers. And honestly, now at this point, I feel like, I'd be happy, sort of platooning the 2. But stick with the hot glove, whatever. But we'll probably go back to Hunter Morse for our next fixture against Chattanooga, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think they display kind of two different play styles. Uh,
Hmm.
Cash seems a little bit more aggressive and playing with his feet, while Hunter is a little bit more methodical and tactical with how he approaches commanding the box. Rob, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I last night watching Cash, I didn't see him really calling out to other players, telling them to move around all that much. He was just trying to own his space with his physical presence. I feel like when you see Hunter in goal, it's a little different. Like usually he's kind of trying to talk to defenders, kind of calling out things. He's a bit more vocal in that space to kind of assert himself. So I think certainly that mentality difference is one way to tell them apart for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how a performance like this in a cup match will affect the league team sheet. After that first half, I think a lot has changed in the way we approach a game. It was different from the fan side of things. It was very different, and it was fun. Not that anything else hasn't been fun so far, but going into halftime 2-0 up, that's the first time we've really experienced that, and I think everybody was flying high at that point. Um, Halftime thoughts. I think the one reason that Cash stood out was because he was facing so many shots. Um, it's not that our defense was looking weak. Uh, I think Detroit was just able to open up space. You see deflections falling to their best players' feet, and they're getting as many touches in the box as they are. They're bound to take those opportunities. But Cash was able to stand up to the task of facing that much of an onslaught, and keeping it 2-0 going into halftime. So I think that was a key moment and kind of a key thought through that first half for me. Um, Sam, what was your key takeaway from that first half?
I mean, if you would have told me before the game that we'd be up 2-0 at halftime on a championship side, I would have done something really regrettable and said, You're lying. There's no way that we'd be up at halftime against this Detroit City squad. I would have expected, 0-0 or 1-1. But it just goes to show you that Hearts were really playing to their style. They were out on the front foot for a majority of the half. Now the match stats don't show that. Uh, that while Detroit had a majority of the possession, they didn't really do much with it, and it sort of showed in the halftime substitutions. Um, and they made their halftime adjustments, and it was just sort of stay the course for Bobby Murphy and crew. But it's just a great first half, and they obviously wanted to build on it in the second. So
Shawn, what changed at halftime for the two sides?
Yeah, so what you kind of touched upon already, Mitchell. My thoughts going into the halftime, just before we get into the substitutes
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
is basically Cash was seeing a lot of shots, and that's the bad part. And just a glimpse into some of the post match stuff there. Bobby shared the same concerns. Um, he mentioned that we need to get in and kind of fix our defense a little bit inside the box, and maybe take some more practice time on the defense side of things, because he felt that we probably let in some goals that we shouldn't have. Maybe some defensive errors, some spacing, man marking errors in the box, and we're kind of seeing some of those manifest itself in shots on goal. That Cash was having a man of the match performance and just basically taking a lot of those and nullifying all of the advances, right? Which is great to see, but I would rather not see Cash that active myself. So kind of a nervous laughter, if you will. Happy about those 2 goals. Very concerned about how much action Cash was seeing. So it was kind of like split down the middle, right? Like pick your favorite meme of like nervous laughter. Like that was me in halftime, right? Uh,
I think I share your concerns. I'm looking at the statistics right now, and so they had 23 shots last night, 12 of which were on target. Or no, I'm sorry, 9 of which were on target. Um, and we had a total of 36 clearances last night,
Yeah.
which is I was about to swear. That's a lot.
that's a lot. That's a lot. So going into the substitution, so Detroit going into the half 2-0 down, they were looking to put the attack on, right?
Yep.
So they were seeing what Cash was doing, and the coach decided I'm going to put on some different forwards, and we're going to see if they got their shooting boots on tonight, right? So they took a forward off and put a center back on. They went into more of a back three, if you recall correctly, in the second half. So they put on an extra center back. They took off one of their forwards, Ruts, and put on a different forward. It was Guinzati, I think is how you pronounce his name. Sedeno off and Morris on. Again, forward, like for like there for Detroit. That was the halftime changes for Detroit. So Portland, Coach Bobby Murphy, he did talk a little bit about both Green and Quinones, basically kind of on a rehab of some of their injuries they're trying to get over. They were on a minute count. They knew they were coming off at the half. It was no surprise. It was kind of one of those deals where I think he mentioned, if I recall correctly, I think it was Kamali Green kind of come over and give Bobby the eyes, like, I can do a little bit more. And he's like, no, you're off. We already talked about it. You're off. This is not a discussion we're going to have. No, you're off. So, of course, Bobby doing the right thing. Kamali knows that's the situation, right? He's just trying to get a little bit more, right? And so Green off, Vinberg on, Quinones off, Mo Mohammed, our 25-day contract signing on. And that was the changes for halftime, Mitchell.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. First of all, really happy to see Kamali back. I've missed him in the squad, and to see Mo Mohammed after the performance he put in last week, I was really excited to see him at home and running up that right side, and boy, did he deliver. No, I think those were all kind of very safe, assumable transitions to keep the game going. Bring in some experience with Sean Vinberg, who has been lights out in holding down that back line and getting some fresh legs on the right side. No notes from me. The second half started off kind of quick. 7 minutes in, Detroit is able to sneak one back. We have a recycled corner out to the dangerous Darren Smith. Out on the right, cross gets swung in, and the fresh leg sub Guinzati is able to finish in the corner. Really kind of a bang goal. Very clean cross in and well-placed goal. I mean, you don't like getting punched in the mouth, but you have to give respect to it being a well-worked finish and a well-worked team goal from Detroit off of a set piece. Rob.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, I same. That was my same thought. Actually, this is the funny thing about being in a match and being in the supporter section. I did not know they scored because we're so good at keeping the energy up. Like nothing really changed in the section. So like they scored, I guess, and then like maybe 5 minutes later, I'm looking over at the scoreboard and I look to Melanie and I'm like, "What? Since when did they score?" Like, "Oh yeah, they scored like 5 minutes ago." I'm like, "What? What?" So I had to go home and watch this goal over again because I totally missed it. But yeah, to your point, Mitchell. Yeah, I mean you can't really argue with this. It was taken from very close to the goal. There's not a lot of time for Cash to react to it. And like we said earlier, I mean, Detroit's a bigger side, so with a lot more experience. So them getting in that close is something they should be able to do. And I just don't think Cash had a lot of time to react based on where that shot was taken and where he was.
And it's a finish that I've seen a million times with, of course, Seba Guanzati being a former Tampa Bay Rowdy. It's I've seen that finish from him time and time again, and just it's a good attacking goal by Detroit, and there was nothing Cash could really do about it. Seeing it from behind, because I was walking into the stadium at that time, I had work obligations keep me until halftime, basically. Um, Seeing that one sort of crossed into the box, and just to see the sort of outstretched hand of Cash, within a few inches of the ball, it kind of hurts a little. But there was nothing he could really do about it. It's a good goal.
Shawn.
Yeah, so I mean, I got no problem with the actual cross or the strike, but the problem that I have is a cross being allowed to get cleanly to a striker's feet that close to our keeper,
Yeah.
right? We talked about it already, right? So
Uh,
that's stuff we got to clean up. We got to make sure we're disciplined and marking our people until the ball is cleared out of our zone. And that's not just the box; that's our own third, if you will. And Bobby talked to it, so they acknowledge they're going to work on it. But when a ball gets crossed in like that, I expect one of my defenders to put a head on it or chest it down and kick it away as quickly as possible. Any one of those options, certainly not a ball cleanly getting to a striker's feet 6 yards in front of our keeper and lacing it in the top corner. And Cash had zero chance to do anything for his team on that play. So nothing on Cash. That's not his fault.
I don't know if it was the camera angle, but when I watched it back this morning, I did kind of think, Messer kind of did have the chance to use his body to kind of block the cross. And I don't know if he was trying to. It looked like he was trying to turn, but I don't know if he just misjudged the way the ball was going to fly or if the camera angle made it seem like he was much closer to the path of that ball than he actually was. But I do think, speaking to your point, Shawn, I think that was a missed opportunity to kind of stop that cross from happening.
Yeah, so he did make a move for the ball, trying to shut it down. He just didn't get there in time.
Yeah.
And those are going to happen sometimes. And you want to try to get it right there at the initiation of the cross, of course, right? That's chance one, right? Chance two is your center backs and your defense in the box. And chance three is Cash, right? But yeah, like I said, with that strike, you really didn't. Cash had really zero chance. So we missed our first two options, and we really didn't have a third based on the quality of the strike. And they got their goal.
They certainly did. And this was I wouldn't say I was nervous after that. It was the carried over lull from the first half that I was more worried about. You look toward the end of the half, Cash having those three big saves. Are we at halftime prepared to come back out and keep our foot on the gas? Are we prepared to maintain this 2-goal lead? We let a goal in, how do we respond? And we respond with 7 minutes of back and forth, and Natty James ultimately comes off for Masashi Wada to keep the momentum going. James was limping a little bit, but he also is joining the Trinidad team for what is it, Gold Cup
Yeah, Gold Cup.
qualifiers, or so I
Yeah,
think he
he leaves today to go down to the Jamaican national, not Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago national team to participate in the Gold Cup. That's correct.
So I think that also played a part in it. He did get trotted on, and I think better to be safe than sorry. Get Wada on. It's a 1-goal lead now. Let's get some experience in the midfield. And I will say, Natty James slotted right in to where what Wada has been doing. He was expansive. He played that second striker 10 role. Like we've seen it as a 4-4-2. We've seen a bunch of different combinations, but ultimately he was kind of filling that space between Liati and JT, and then he was also kind of drifting more centrally and left to help that creativity through the first half. So I think an hour out of Natty James, 2 assists. What more could you ask for? Get some fresh legs on. And after the hour mark, it still kind of rolled on. We saw 15 minutes of back and forth. We saw some changes from Detroit. Yamazaki came off for Sheldon. And a few minutes later, we see Ollie Wright come off for Walter Varela. So we have some more experience coming into the side, proven attacking threat. We're clearly trying to go out and get a win, still holding that 2-1 lead. And then things started picking back up when Walter came on the pitch. We see Walter Varela make it 3-1 Hearts in the 79th minute. Rob, at that moment, 10 minutes to go, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good. I thought honestly we weren't looking bad as a side at all. Of course, with that goal coming, after that, I felt really really good. I think the momentum really shifted. The guys clearly understood in this game that, and they brought this up in the broadcast actually, that if they came out and gave a strong performance, and kept the fans engaged, that was a way to kind of, I think, build momentum. Like the momentum of the whole stadium, not just the team, but the people there. Every time the team responded in kind with a goal, the momentum just it grew. It was a really cool game to actually go to in the context of all professional sporting events I've ever been to. In the way we responded and it built. Yeah, going 10 minutes in, I was actually feeling really confident.
Shawn, can you speak a little bit on this goal? Because I thought this is one of the better ones on the day, just with how it transpired.
Yeah, so Kamara was deep in the attacking third when the defender had the ball and was trying to like shield it from Kamara, and Kamara ended up stealing the ball, and turned to make a run into the box, and saw the run that that Varela was making, and made the square ball pass into the box. And Varela ran onto it nicely and dispatched it to the back of the net to put the Hearts up 3-1 in the 79th minute. But one of the things that was discussed in the post-match press conference was Bobby Murphy was basically mentioning, and I'll summarize. I've got quite a bit jotted down for notes, but I'll basically summarize the fact that he mentioned that a very similar play happened in practice earlier in the week, and Kamara being the individual that stole the ball in a like the same area of the pitch. It was almost like mirror image, right? And in practice, he tried to do what we usually see him do and try to make his way towards the center of the box. And the team, not Bobby Murphy, but the team was kind of giving him the business. Like, what are you doing? We've got an open runner coming into the box. Why are you trying to take on 2 or 3 people, right? And to the surprise of Kamara, he was like, oh, okay, all right, got it. All right, my bad. All right, I got it. And to see it go from practice and that learning moment in practice, that was all inside the team, right? It was peer to peer type of correction. And to see basically a mirror image of that happen, and Kamara making the correct decision and it paying off in a goal, a great learning moment in an actual game. I think it was a good moment to see the way Bobby spoke to it. It was kind of like a learning moment. Like, all right, they're learning. They're actually taking mistakes from practice. They're correcting them, and they're making the right decisions in the game, and we're getting goals from it. This is a very positive thing for the Hearts, Mitchell.
Yeah, there was one other JT moment that stood out to me, and it was when Ollie was trying to climb back onto the pitch after his goal. He tugged on the leash a little bit, and he was like, "Get back in here." And I think with the style of play that JT brings, the creativity and his ability to maintain possession and dribble through people, it is a learning curve because a lot of those guys have been playing since January together. You arrive 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and you're trying to find your way. And he's like, okay, I'll put the team on my back. I'll dribble through 7 dudes and I'll score a goal, or I'll cut back. And he's got that in him. And when you have players like Walter who are making those runs to be able to find them, and the guys to be able to coach themselves a little bit and work out those kinks, speaks volumes to what I think we're going to see in the very near future from this club. Unbelievable pass out of JT. The ability to get it up over a defender's leg and into open space for a nice, clean, one-time finish. Picture perfect goal yet again. We're 3 for 3 at this point on Hearts of Pine playing with the chemistry we know they have and the ability we know they have to finish their dinner. And it was one of my favorite moments of that game, going 3-1 up with 10 to play. But just 2 minutes later, we're kind of questioning our lives again. Detroit answers right back. Rob, take us through this one. I didn't really catch this one as it happened, because I was still singing our new Walter Varela chant. I was shaking my butt to some da 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 Varela.
Barella.
So take us through that one if you laid eyes on it.
Say so. I didn't maybe get the best view of actually the pass and actually how it ended up in the box. I know it moved fast. It was a really quick play that I believe came up the right wing. I think it was the wing closest to us.
Yep.
And they kind of passed it in late, I believe, and found one of their guys, and he just slotted it in real quick, just like the prior goal was right on top of Cash. He didn't really have a lot of time to react to this one either, and very deflating to see that. I think I was with you. I was like mid cheer doing the Walter Varela cheer, and it went in, and I kind of went, oh,
Varela.
Varela, yeah.
You can still hear us singing. You like smoke still in the
We
air.
were still singing it. Just kind of, but yeah, it was definitely one of those things you kind of wonder, was the team still kind of in the headspace of them scoring? Were they not fully ready for Detroit's counterattack, which clearly they were pretty successful at getting through us and getting around us to get the ball in the spot where they needed it to go for this goal. Yeah, I'll say after they score there, I did get a little stressed. Not that we lose the game, but I was worried we draw,
Yep.
which has been a feeling we've all felt for a very long time. So definitely after that goal, I definitely was looking at the clock a lot more.
Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of felt like the goal celebration was winding down a bit, and almost perfectly timed as I felt we were, okay, let's get back into it. They score. And, it was just sort of an awkward moment, I guess. But, honestly, was going back to the third goal is just JT Gamara worked his magic in the second half. That's all I really have to say about that, and we'll see it, especially with the next goal we'll talk about, because it's I think I felt like he had more of a contribution to that one than Walter who had just the great finish.
Great finish and a great run into the box to find that space. There's no one near him able to stop that. So couldn't
Absolutely.
I'm a broken record. Couldn't ask for more out of these finishes against Detroit City. Um, right after that, that 3-2, we see Liotti come off for Titus. So we have another forward for forward switch. Nothing really changed in terms of how we were playing. I think it was just to give Liotti some rest and Titus a little bit more time on the pitch. And then just a couple minutes later, we sink the dagger in Detroit City at the 85th minute mark. Shawn, what happened?
Yeah, so we were basically at midfield, both like you said, 85th minute, and MPA working hard on some Detroit players, and digs the ball out of a couple of defenders near the touchline. So the touchline probably closest to the box and stuff, and he was working over there and got it out and saw the forward run of Varela heading up towards the box, and he got a nice weighted pass out in front of Varela that he ran onto. And Varela was running into the box with a ball, or just beginning to, and he kind of centered it over to Kamara, which was just getting into the box himself and was actually running away from the spot, so kind of centrally running to the opposite side of the field. And again, the attention that we discussed that Kamara gets holds true here, and Kamara is literally pulling defenders with him because of the threat that he is to Detroit, and they're following him just outside of the the center portion of the box, and he looks over his shoulder to see the run of Mo Mohammed towards the center of the box, and Kamara, being the very technical savvy individual that he is, kicks a back heel right into a forward running Mo Mohammed. The goalkeeper for Detroit, Carlos Saldana, tries to come out and close him down the best he can, but Mo pulls the trigger a fraction of a second before he can get there. And we are up a big 4-2 over Detroit. The first time we've scored 4 goals since our very first match up in Lewiston, Maine against CD Filans. 4 goals for the Hearts. Wow.
Tied for the most goals scored in the second group stage weekend in the Jagermeister Cup. I think it was the Las Vegas game that had it was 4. That one finished 4-0. So with a 4-2 result, that pushes our goal differential to 0 in the group stage so far. 3 points sees us leap from last place up into third place. And I think we're feeling pretty good about the Jagermeister Cup after that. We're giving ourselves an honest shot at advancing from the group stage with a result like this. I don't think it was a necessary result to get, in my opinion. I'd much rather focus on the league, especially where it's year one, and it's also year one for the Jagermeister Cup. There's time to build history there. There's time to build up to playing at a championship level caliber. But we went out and did it 6 weeks into our young season, and I couldn't be more proud of Bobby and the boys and the performance they put out on the pitch last night. It was a true statement win. It was a big shift, in my opinion. And these Hearts have just started beating, but they're going to be beating a lot stronger now. And I think we've put a lot of people on notice that this team is not to be taken lightly, no matter who's in the starting 11.
I would agree, Mitchell. I think it's an interesting game. I do think in terms of just looking at the competition, I think if we are serious, we want to make it out of the group stage. We got to compete for one of those wild card spots.
Yep.
Which I think if you look at our group and look at all the other Jagermeister groups, it'd be hard to argue we don't have the most difficult group in the entire competition. Now, there's some interesting things though right now. So right now at the top is Rhode Island, which I think they're probably going to stay there based on how they've been playing this season. We certainly had a very difficult game against them playing in the Open Cup. We're seeing them again in less than a month on June 27th. So we'll see how that game goes. We probably have to draw at minimum that game, and then have Hartford, who's currently in second in our group, lose to get in that second place spot to ensure that we have a shot at the wild card.
We also
That's my thought.
we also well our final group stage game is against Pittsburgh, and they haven't really had the best showing in the Jagermeister Cup yet either. So there's a lot of interesting pathways developing, and just to go out and get 3 points to give us the option of manifesting our own destiny. Going to Tidewater and to Centerville Bank is going to be a tough task. We know we have history already with Rhode Island. It's going to be a chippy match, and it's on their home turf, and it's already a top location, and a feared place to go play because the Defiants do such a good job at creating an atmosphere, and the players in Rhode Island get up for it. So that's going to be a tough test. But if we can do what we did against Detroit and really use our house to our advantage against Pittsburgh, anything's possible, and we could see Hearts of Pine advance out of this group of death, if you will, having two really good championship sides. You have the runners up from last year with Rhode Island, and you have Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh Riverhounds. That's a tall order, and I think this is a step in the right direction for our club moving forward through this competition to make a name for ourselves and get out. So as we move to post game, the vote was close for our man of the match this game. I think there were probably 5-6 names you could have thrown on the short list. We had Cash. You have JT, who impressed, especially in that second half with his 2 assists. You have Natty James with 2 assists. You have 4 different goal scorers. But ultimately, the main wooden buoys, Dirigo Union man of the match, went to Cash Oladapo. I think without the performance he put in, that easily could have been a 5-4 game. And I think that speaks more than the goals scored ultimately, in my opinion.
Yeah, and an interesting thing about this one is that the man of the match, it wasn't exactly unanimous. Looking through, the broadcast had JT Kamara as the man of the match, and also FootMob had him as man of the match. SofaScore has Natty James as the man of the match, but the most important one, the one that really only counts, the one that really only counts, period, is Cash Oladapo, who had a fantastic performance, and we've already spoken about him at length already during this hour. So well deserved for Cash, and hopefully we'll get to see him again for our next Jaeger Cup fixture, because from what I can take away, he's our cup keeper.
Yeah, I would agree. But while we were distributing the buoy, getting the pot over to Cash, I guess Nathan Messer was jumping into the stands too. I missed the second player leap up
Yes.
there.
So yeah, what happened was they do their traditional, I guess we'll call it the curtain call, when we all do the woo, and then everybody jumps up. And Nate decides, I'm going to take it one step further, hops the first fence, and then hops the second fence, and a big group hug that I got involved with, just pure adrenaline between him, and second time Bass hugged a player during that game. So but just great vibes all around. And this is the thing. This is what Nathan Messer does, because apparently this goes back all the way to when he played for Vermont Green in Burlington. He hopped the fence there as well.
Yep. It was born in Vermont, but it's being cemented in Portland, that's for sure. And there was a ton that happened with the post-match celebrations. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures, but Masashi Wada signed a kid's face.
Missed that one.
I missed that.
It was absolute scenes. The video we started the episode with, I can't describe how loud it was from the track. Like, just giving the perspective of not being on top of the drums in the stands and then standing just 20, 30 feet away on the track. It was loud. Fitzy was rocking, and we were welcoming that team over. I like how they kind of touch every other spot around the stadium first, and then finale over with the supporters. I think it gives everybody an opportunity to have their moment with the players, and top lads staying, signing autographs, taking pictures with everybody. Couldn't ask for more professional guys at such a young age. Really impressed with what we're building here.
So maybe this is the not so great part of the celebrations. Did anyone see what happened with JT Kamara during the curtain call jump?
No.
Yeah, I did.
So on the jump, they're going up. JT lands and he falls to the ground. And actually, Natty James turns around to go make sure he's okay. But I didn't personally witness it during the match.
Yeah.
I know some people mentioned the zoo afterwards, but it's very clear on the broadcast. But the broadcast cuts away from it when they stop talking about the celebration. So, Shawn, I'm curious if it came up at all in the post match press conference at all.
No, that particular incident did not come up in the post match, but if I'm linking puzzle pieces together here, JT was one of the individuals that we wanted to talk to at the post press conference. But he was actually physically there. I kind of waved and smiled at him and stuff, and said good game and whatever. And shortly after that, he disappeared, and we were told that he was cramping up. So if I'm putting that together with what you guys saw on the pitch, I'm gonna probably link it together and say that's probably why he fell down. In hindsight, maybe he would have wished that he wasn't quite holding hands and just said, "Hey, I'll run forward and throw my hands up," but I'm not jumping, guys, because I'm cramping hard.
He played a full 90, so that's he was up and down that pitch. I'd love to see a heat map out of him to just see how far he traveled during that game, because he was everywhere.
Yeah, he certainly was.
I'm just glad to hear it wasn't something more serious. I was
Yeah.
you never like to see them kind of fall like
Yeah,
the way
no,
he did.
never.
So if it's only cramps, maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, so before we touch on the post-match press conference and everything that Shawn was able to get into, I just want to thank everybody again for helping with cleanup. Anybody in the section sticking around or getting trash to the front of the section, it helps us get out of there quicker, and it helps the staff in the stadium get out of there quicker as well. So keep up the good work, keeping our home nice and tidy, better than we found it, and it's going to be a fun year. The quicker we are, the quicker we get to go to the zoo and have a good time post-match. So I appreciate everybody who's helped with that so far. Shawn, you were down at the post-match press conference, not to be confused with the post-match pulse.
That's right. That's right.
What did you learn down after the game, and what did Bobby and the players have to say?
Yeah, so some positive things down there at the press conference. Like I said, didn't get a chance to talk to JT due to the cramping, but we did get a chance to talk to Natty James, Cash Oladapo, and Bobby Murphy, with the three individuals that we did actually get a chance to talk to. So Natty just wanted to talk largely about the creativity and the link up that they were having there in the front end of the match. and basically linked it to. I asked him a question in terms of, was he seeing something in that defensive line tactically that they wanted to go ahead and take advantage of? Because they were actually torturing that back line in the first half between himself and JT, right? And I said, or is it just due to the practice that he was referring to from earlier questions, that they're just bringing it from the practice pitch onto the field? And he goes, yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of bringing it from the practice pitch onto the field. He goes, but he goes, it's sometimes JT and myself were kind of like-minded. The left-footed people, if you will, and he kind of had a smile as he was saying those left-footed people think alike sometime, syncing up for those creative plays. And I think he was just trying to link it a little bit to how we talk about Ollie and Messer kind of sharing the brain sometimes. I think that's just kind of where he was going with it, right? And we all had a little bit of a chuckle, and he moved on, and then Cash came in, and we, of course, were asking him about his man of the match, and he was very pleased and humbled a little bit to get the man of the match, and he, when he spoke about the man of the match, he's like, it just feels great to get recognized by the fans, the energy, the songs, the beats, the noise. It's a luxury to have those guys backing us. It means a lot to get recognized by the team. And he was certainly very appreciative of the award that he received. So certainly wanted to make sure I pass that along to everybody listening. And so when we got to Bobby, Bobby was asking all the usual questions, and I couldn't help myself. I had to ask him a little bit about what Natty James was talking to us about with the left-footed connection between him and Kamara. And so I asked him, I go, hey, is there something to that? A left-footed player to a left-footed player? Is that a thing? Knowing the reaction that I'd probably get out of Coach Bobby Murphy. And after a small roll of the eyes and a puff of air, he just kind of shook his head. And he goes, no, there wasn't it wasn't really anything with a left-footed player to a left-footed player thing. He goes, if there was, James would have rolled it into the back of the net at the end of the first half because it was left-footed player to a left-footed player. But he was smirking. I think he enjoyed that one, and I'm sure there's a little banter back in the locker room after that one. So you got that to he got me to thank for that one there, Natty. So I hope it was all in good fun. But that was the gist, I think, probably of the post match. I will say that that Bobby did go on in a little bit more depth after he had some fun with it, just stating the fact that they're similar players, so they're going to look for each other on the pitch. It makes sense, right? They like each other. They're similar in age, so they're peers in age and that sort of thing. They have lots of things in common. Kind of got an affinity for each other, and you're going to probably continue to see that throughout the year. Those two probably linking up, much like we talked about earlier with maybe Ollie and Messer. And hey, that's good problems to have for the Hearts when you got more and more pairs linking up, sharing a brain, if you will, certainly on the attacking side of the ball and putting the ball in the back of the net. We'll take it. Mitchell?
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't. It's not possible. I'm just so happy with where we're at this early on. I think we look at this pretty realistically. It's easy to be a homer, a Jack Edwards, if you will, for all the hockey fans, for your hometown club. But when the sky kind of opens up and the stars align like they did yesterday, you got to sit back and just kind of have a little pint of positivity and toast to what you witnessed, because the chemistry's building. The passion is you can feel it, and I think this is fixing to be a very, very memorable summer in Portland, Maine. So, Shawn, if you will, take us away with a pint of positivity before we wrap up this long-winded waffling episode of the Dirigo Union post-match pulse?
Well, when there is 6 goals scored in a match, and you're blowing away a championship side at home, you got a lot to talk about, right? So it's no surprise that now my now empty pint, that we're gonna pretend that's full, and we got a pint of positivity is pretty straightforward here for this one, guys. It's gonna be the firepower, the brand new firepower that we have seen in our Hearts of Pine against a championship side, and this is Bobby Murphy's words, not mine, that we put together 4 really nice goals that we want to score going forward. So it fits his system, it fits his idea of soccer. He even said, he goes, just right off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure if you go back and count it, we probably scored 4 goals on probably a combined 15 passes that would link up those goals. So not 15 passes for the night, but 15 passes total for those 4 goals to go in the back of the net. So that's very much what Bobby is looking for. When we get possession of that ball, few quick passes and put it in the back of the net. That's what we're looking to do. So your pint of positivity today is for the firepower for the Hearts of Pine, putting 4 goals in the back of the net. If we can take this mojo and put it into the league, and we can continue to see our defensive output in league play, we are top 4 in defense in USL League One. So let's make sure we don't forget that. We talk about a little tune-up that we got to do in our defense in the box, but look at the goals allowed. I think we sit 4th or so for league play. So our defense is good in the league. If we could take this firepower and bring it into the league and start putting up 3 goals, 4 goals, 2 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals, the points are coming, and they're going to come in heaps. And we're going to be charging up the table and getting deep into a playoff seed. So that's your long-winded pint of positivity.
It was almost about as long as it lasted. That was gone an hour ago. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to look at more Hearts of Pine content, Dirigo Union content, you can find us on the Blazing Musket. From the Forest to the Tide episode should be coming back soon at some point. We also have some fun stuff planned with the team coming up over the summer, so stay tuned for that. Mitchell, Rob, Shawn, and Sam, thank you so much for tuning in for the hour and a half today. We miss you, Charles. Love you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Get better, Charles.
Without further ado,
Love
up
you,
the
buddy.
Hearts. We'll see you next time.
Up the Hearts.
The Hearts.
Hear the drums, yours and mine, and it beats for our time. From the forest to the tide, we are the Hearts of Pine. Hear the drums, yours and mine.